I've done a lot of speed runs over the course of my lifetime, and I also love playing video games. One video game series in particular that I really enjoy was Pokemon. And even though I've been a speedrunner for a very long time, I've never actually played Pokemon for a speedrun. It was always one of those things that it's like, I'll play it eventually, maybe eventually. But eventually is today. So I wanted to set up Pokemon Green as my first Pokemon speedrun. It's the first Pocket Monsters game, so you gotta play Pokemon Green first. So first I needed to make sure that I backed up my save file, or just whatever save file was on the cartridge, you know, when I bought it from a Japanese man or woman or whatever many years ago. I used this little handy little, just put that. Then I plopped that, we get all right. And then put this fucker in here, and during the course of this run, I will be using a green pen to write in green ink to take notes for my Pokemon Green speedrun. And with that, I am ready to go. Once again, I've never speedrun a Pokemon game before, and possibly more importantly, I can't read Japanese. But hey, how bad could it be, you know? So I chose Bulbasaur because it's, it's Pokemon Green, so you gotta go with Bulbasaur. But of course, I'm gonna be switching over to Nidoking, right? It's, Nidoking, speedrun. So yeah, we're gonna be using Nidoking. I'm not checking for stats or anything. This is my first run, so I just figured, whatever, man. If I get the worst stats in the world, how bad could it go? What's the worst thing that could happen? It took me a while to catch Nidoran. I caught Nidoran at a low level. Hopefully that is not a harbinger of what is to come. After going through the forest, getting a little bit more trainers than I probably need to, but trying to level up my guys here a little bit because I'm a little concerned with Brock. Brock's a little bit of a scary guy. He's got that big rock snake thing. I don't know, man. That guy's scary. So we'll see how it goes. Decided to switch editing techniques in the middle of the video because I'm going through a little bit of an experimental phase. So the rest of this will be a little bit semi-live as I watch the video itself. So Brock took me a couple of tries, like 5 or 6 or 2. I don't really remember. I got really high last night, but eventually I managed to whittle this fucker down with the help of trusty old Bulbasaur. You know, here I thought that this was a Nido run. But anyway, so Onyx went down, easy peasy. It only took, 59 trillion years, and there he goes. So after beating Brock, I managed to get my way down over to the next route. I believe it's Route 3. Really just, tearing through some of these guys, leveling up my Nidoran. And it's around this part of the game where, I just really was having a lot of fun. I got my Nidoran, my Bulbasaur I was leveling up to for some reason. I just, I couldn't sever the bond. But I was just having a lot of fun around here, around the 36-minute mark, just defeating Brock. But hey, this is my first time playing Pokemon Green in a long time, but it's also my first time doing a speedrun, and again, I can't read. I don't know what any of this shit says. So a couple of, and this later on in this run, it causes quite a tremendous amount of problems, but I just cannot read. So I'm just kind of going based on, like, I think that's what that is. I think that's a potion. I think that's a Pokeball. I think, and it gets to the point where I lose track of what moves I have, and I kind of am just like figuring out it doesn't help that I turned off the battle animations, because it's a speed run. And so a lot of this run is just me kind of waddling around, just going around, losing a lot, overwriting moves that are important, and it really causes me some headaches later in the game. But hey, I don't want to spoil too much. But going into Mount Moon, Route 3 on over to Mount Moon didn't really cause any problems. I probably went out of my way to fight some more trainers than I had to. But once we're into Mountain Moon, and then we got Nidorino, and I don't have the Moonstone yet. But once we get into Mountain Moon, I really enjoy the cave music in Pokemon Green and Red. And it's just really fun to listen to. After battling my way through Mount Moon, I managed to get that Moonstone that's super obvious and use it to finally get the almighty Nidoking. Now, again, I haven't really done a Pokemon speedrun before, so I have seen them. I used to watch Pokemon speedruns a little bit, like 12, 13 years ago, but I don't, I just thought, yeah, Nidoking, he's really good, right? I don't know, whenever I play Pokemon Green, I usually try to use Pokemon that are not, I know are the strongest or just super good, and I've never really done a speedrun of these games before, so I'm not used to just using the best Pokemon in the game, and so I didn't really know, what went into that. Is Nidoking just an unstoppable force? Am I going to have to do strategy? Am I going to have to learn how to read so I know what moves they have? We'll all find out, we'll find that out, together. But then, get through Mount Moon, no big deal. Fight these guys, get the fossil, get the hell out of here. And, it was around when I got to Cerulean City that I decided to use the bathroom, and accidentally dropped my controller, so the palette changed, but don't mind that. So then I'm going into fighting the rival. So when I was fighting the rival, Nidoking was doing really well, but the thing about Nidoking is I don't know what the moves are. I don't really know which move is which. It's kind of, I'm kind of lost, and frankly, I don't know what's in my inventory either, but I'm pretty sure that that's a potion, turns out. I was successful. I'm gonna have to buy a lot more of those later down the line, but I was successful. That was a potion. I have successfully used my potion to regenerate my health, and with that, there goes the Charmander, I hope, and Nidoking, not looking so good, but hopefully Bulbasaur. It's the old classic rival battle. Bulbasaur to the rescue. I won the first battle. Sure, this Charmander's a lot more level up. How bad could it be? Not too bad. Not too bad. Just get some Leech Seed on there. That's the thing, is I know I've played a lot of Pokemon, especially when I was a lot younger, and I know things like Leech Seed. Leech Seed, it's a classic move. As long as you get lucky and Charmander uses Growl over and over and over and over and over and over again, you'll make it. And that's pretty much exactly what happened here. And with that, I moved on to go get some more of those potions. And then Nugget Bridge. Gonna go do Bill. Again, I can't read, but hopefully I'll be able to operate the machine. Nugget Bridge, it didn't really cause me too many problems. This was around the part of the game where I started to realize that Nidoking really is super overpowered. And again, minor spoilers for the rest of this video, but, I did run into a lot of problems later in the game. I'm gonna blame it all on my inability to read Japanese text, and I just had to make my first Pokemon speedrun Pokemon Green. I had to make it the first Pokemon game. I have Pokemon Green. I can't read Japanese, but I had to. It's the first Pocket Monsters game. It's the first one. It's my first speedrun. It's the cosmic energy of the universe. But either way, it was around this point where I realized, Nidoking, super fucking good, especially for this section of the game. Because, you have the Nidoking, you use the Moonstone, you're level 20, so you're kind of a little over-leveled, but also you're just a late-stage endgame evolution, and it's pretty crazy. So I was kind of high on my own supply there. Of course, I did 150 milligrams of tetrahydrocannabinol before this run started, so this is around the time where I'm really swimming in the juice. I'm really okay, man, this is going well. Nidoking is gonna serve me. I'm gonna fly through this game. Sure, I can't read, but you know what? I've played Pokemon Red and Blue and Yellow and Fire Red and Leaf Green, and I've played those games hundreds of times. I don't need to read. I don't need to know how to fucking read Japanese text. I know these games like the back of my hand. Sure, I've only played Pokemon Green one time, but it's pretty much the same fucking game as Pokemon Red and Blue in America, so what could possibly go wrong? And again, not much went wrong, at least for a while. So I went to Bill's house. I got Bill some help. You know, unfortunately, we could not get him the mental help that he quite obviously, I think he needs a lot of mental help. I mean, like, just, you know, I know many people have probably made this point, but what the hell's going on here? Like, you can just transmit your energy into a Pokemon. You have a cloning device. You have a consciousness transfer machine. Why is this not a bigger deal in the Pokemon universe? Or is Bill just, you know, he's a little nutso and he's just playing a prank? Either one is possible. I kind of forgot where to go here. So I kind of got a little bit lost. I thought that maybe there would be an item over there. I don't know. I don't even know if there are items in this game. And there are items in this game. I meant like items on the ground, but there are. But it was around. I didn't remember what I was doing. So yeah, there's like that little section where you have to go around. But anyway, so then I went on over to Misty, did the trainers in the gym, just want to level up a little bit, and Misty, you know, thoroughly trounced me. Nidoking's streak of victory, Nidoking's streak of supremacy over the Pokemon Green universe has come to an end. Now again, I don't know what my stats are at this point in the game, or at all. Once again, I cannot read. Obviously, the stats have numbers, and I know that speedrunners of Pokemon games, they look for a specific level, they look for specific stats, and that dictates, you know, a lot throughout the run. But again, this is my first run. My stats might be good, and the play might be terrible. The play might be terrible, and the stats are also terrible. The play might be terrible, and the stats might be really good, and I wasted them. I don't really know. You know, it's my first run. So what if it ends up taking like 8 hours? You know, like, could you imagine 8 hours of playing Pokemon without moving? You know, well, I mean, I probably, when I was young, I probably did that a lot longer than 8 hours. But anyway, you know, what could possibly go wrong? Who knows, you know? So again, I don't know, you know, what a typical, like, no reset run of Pokemon Green would look like, and that's to say not resetting for starter or Nidoran stats or levels or anything like that. I don't know how long that would typically go. I don't know if it's like 30 minutes to an hour of time that you save just by having like a really good starter, or if it's like 10 minutes. I don't know. Again, there's a lot I don't know. I don't really know shit about how to speedrun these games. I'm coming at this from a kind of a weird lens of someone who has been a speedrunner for a really long time, and like an older kind of Pokemon fan for a really long time, but those two worlds never merged. I never merged those worlds before, so I really enjoy Pokemon. I really especially enjoy the ROM hacking scene of Pokemon. And I really enjoy speedrunning. I've watched a couple Pokemon speedruns, but I've never really delved in. I don't really know all the rules, so that's why I'm kind of excited to start this whole channel and start this experience. But anyway, once the soliloquy ends, so does Misty, and that's the second badge. Now again, you know, hour and a half or so beating Misty, is that good? Probably not. Probably not good. And hey, Bulbasaur is evolving. That's cool. Man, the sprite for Ivysaur and Pokemon Green. Like, this guy looks more stoned than I was when I played this last night, but holy moly. Look at this guy. Wow. But anyway, once again, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to have fun. And probably, if you're new here, if you're watching some of these earlier videos as I'm posting them, you're gonna see me just kind of experiment with all kinds of stuff. I don't really know what the hell I'm doing. I don't know how to play this game. I don't really know what it is. I've never even heard of Pokemon. What are these talking monsters? I don't know. But I beat Misty. I move on. I fight this rocket guy, and I'm on to Vermilion, except this Butterfree. This Butterfree was causing me a lot of problems. This Butterfree was causing me a gigantic amount of problems, and it's really unfortunate. I went to that Butterfree, dead. Went back to that Butterfree, dead. Actually, no, the Butterfree died that time. And then I moved on, dead to the Pidgey. Can you believe it? But it's all the Butterfree's fault. That Butterfree set me up for failure. I didn't know that Butterfree was such a good Pokemon, but I know that that's the meme with the bug types is, you know, there's that little bit of range where the bug types are actually really good. Like, if you're doing a level 15 run, bug types are great. If you're doing like a level 20 run, bug types pretty awesome. Doing a level 30 run, that's when your bug types start really fucking up. At least that's what I think. That's my interpretation of Pokemon. I don't really know if that's accurate. But the Pidgey really caused me a lot of, or the Butterfree really caused me a lot of problems. But eventually I made it to Vermilion. The thing with Vermilion is I was really worried that I was going to get lost on the boat. To me, whenever I played Pokemon before, I would usually like to clear out the boat because the SS Anne is one of the only places in any of the Pokemon games, at least the ones that are good, where it's like kind of a one chance and you'll miss it, so I always like to clear it out, get all the trainers, get all the items, but I really, I wasn't really sure what the fastest, most direct path to the end is, but it's actually really close, really easy. I made 1 or 2 wrong moves, and then now I'm fighting the rival, so totally unexpected. I thought I was going to get lost here quite a lot. That did not end up happening, which is beneficial for me. And yeah, Nidoking, at this point in the game anyway, Nidoking was an absolute monster. Totally destroyed the rival. Not even close, honestly. No difference is what the kids say. No difference at all. But anyway, went up there, rubbed this old man's back, get cut, get the hell out of here. And there goes the SS Anne. So again, my confidence at this point in the run, my confidence was really high. I was like, oh, okay, we're gonna go to the gym, we're gonna, get lost doing the trash can puzzle over and over and over and over and over again, and that's exactly what happened. Look at this. Oh no, there it is. I'm skipping ahead here. There it is. No, is that it? No, that's not it. Oh no, is that it? Oh god. And then I fight Lieutenant Surge. And again, at this point in the run, my confidence was really high. I was like, okay, the world record's like, 2 hours, give or take. Maybe I'll get 4 hours. Maybe, I don't really know what I'm doing. I can't read. That's another thing about this. I just cannot read. I simply do not know how. I've never read before. I am illiterate. So, I don't really know what's going on. Maybe 5 hours, what could possibly go wrong? Of course, I'm recording this commentary with the hindsight of knowing the real time that it ended up taking, and we'll get into that later. But it was quite horrendous, I must say. It was, well, I mean, it was fun, and most importantly, I had a lot of fun playing this, and it's a new experience, and next time I'll play in a language that I can read, but needless to say, Lieutenant Surge didn't offer any reasonable resistance, so much so that I just kind of rambled and talked over him the entire time. I really probably should have ended up using Thunderbolt on somebody or saving the TM. I ended up selling a lot of my TMs. Again, don't know how to read, so I kind of forgot what some of them were. Later on, I remembered, oh yeah, isn't that Thunderbolt? Maybe I should have kept that. Whatever, it doesn't really matter too much. And at this point, I got a little lost. I was like, shit, where do I go? I went over to the route, fought a couple guys, and then I remembered, no, I'm supposed to go back up here. I want to get the bike voucher as well, so I want to get the bike. And the thing about the bike, and it's truly, it's a sad state of affairs, but the thing about the bike is it is one of the worst, if not the worst item in the game, especially from a speedrunning perspective, because, it just makes the music awful. I mean, like, okay, the bike music, is it independently, if you just heard the music out of context, is it that bad? No, it's not that bad. It's actually pretty solid. But the fact that it turns the entire game's dynamic soundtrack that's changing from level to level to level, the fact that it just disables that entire feature and overwrites it with some more shit. Oh my goodness gracious, is it frustrating? So I hate the bike. I was almost tempted to do a no bike run, just for maximum spite. But, I didn't want to make this run any longer than it needed to be, and I'm glad I made that decision. But anyway, I moved along here, went to Rock Tunnel, got a little bit lost in that route, didn't really know what to do. I pulled up a printout of the maps of Rock Tunnel so that I didn't get lost, even without Flash. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't even know where Flash is. Where is Flash in this game? It's been so long since I've gotten Flash in red, green, or fire red, leaf green, or blue, or yellow. It's been so long since I've gotten Flash in these games. Usually I get it in gold and silver, but I usually skip it in red and blue, and green. And so I looked up a map of Rock Tunnel just so I wouldn't get lost. I ended up getting stuck in Rock Tunnel for a really long time. I kept dying to some of the trainers. Nidoking was really kind of disappointing me. I was getting a little frustrated. And every time I ended up whiting out in Rock Tunnel, I went back to Cerulean City. I would spawn here, and then I was like, do I really need to hit the Pokemon Center by Rock Tunnel? No. And then I would faint again, so I lost like probably like, you know, 5 hours just in Rock Tunnel. You know, as I'm doing this commentary, you can see this, you know, I'm skipping ahead. Every time I hit this key, it skips ahead like 30 seconds or so. Just kidding, it's actually like 10 seconds. But anyway, you can see I'm just getting back in there, getting back in there, getting back in there, getting back in there. Let's try again, let's try again. Really just gigantic disaster. And again, it's around this part of the run where I realize I have no fucking idea what my moves are. I really don't remember what Nidoking learns in red, blue, green, yellow, blue. I really don't know. It's been a long time since I've even used Nidoran in these games. Even in Fire Red and Leaf Green, the moveset's a little bit different by that time. So, like, am I using Rage? Does Nidoking learn Rage? Is it Thrash? I don't really know what I'm using at this point, but I'm using something? I don't... but anyway, after doing that a little bit, I managed to get out of there and made my way to Lavender Town. And again, it's around this time where the game really starts to open up. You can kind of make a lot of different routing decisions and go in a lot of different directions. Of course, I will be getting the Sylph Scope in this run because Pokédoll is a glitch, of course. So I got to go on over to Celadon and do the game corner, but I kind of don't know what I'm doing at this point. I didn't have a route. Again, it's just like, it's Pokemon Green. I've played that game before. That's kind of my mindset going into this. So, you know, I go along this route, go on over to Celadon, try to get the fresh water. Couldn't read. So I didn't really know how to buy anything else at the department store. I know there's a lot of TMs that would be really useful and stuff, but can't read. So I just kind of hoped that that wouldn't be a problem. I went in to fight Erica. You know, I thought Erica's pretty easy, whatever. So I went in, fought some trainers, fought Erica. Did not go so well. Erica was not as easy as I remembered. And so then that sent me back to Lavender Town, which is really unfortunate. Then I was like, maybe I'll do it again. So lost Nidoking, but somehow Ivysaur, grass on grass, really. I don't know what happened, but somehow Erica went down. And then I was like, well, shit, now where do I go? And then I was like, oh, yeah, I got to go to the game corner. And then there's this maze. And now I will be honest with you, I did pull up a map of this maze. I did pull up a map. Is it cheating? Maybe a little bit. But then, you know, it's around this time of the run where I was like, okay, 3 hours. I've got 4 badges. You know, my initial plan was maybe I beat the game around 4. I don't think that's going to end up happening. So I got a little nervous around this point, but I didn't let it get to me. Got lost in the maze a couple times. Didn't really know what I was doing, even with a map. But eventually I found my way to fighting Giovanni. And, you know, I always enjoy Giovanni. Like, the sprite for him, he just looks really weird and kind of just bizarre. I don't know, like, just the way he's got his shoulders propped up and he's got his suit. I don't know, man. Giovanni's cool as hell. I like Giovanni. Except in the context of this run, because, Giovanni was a little bit problematic for me. You know, Nidoking, I really should have more moves, but I don't. So I ended up getting fucking pwned here. So then I had to go I went to the Celadon store. I was like, can I buy something here? And then I realized, wait a second, I can't read. So I quickly left and then got lost in the maze again. And then fought Giovanni. And this time, I win. I won. I beat Giovanni that time. Excellent. So I got the hell out of there. And then I went back, fought a bunch of other guys. You know, at this point again, I'm getting really sidetracked. I don't know where the hell I'm going. Right, I'm going back to the tower. That's right. So then I fight the rival. This Gyarados is causing me some problems, but that Gyarados will cause me a lot more problems later. But for now, just kind of steamrolled the rival. I ended up really... This is where my run kind of fell into disaster territory, at least mentally. And the run itself was not great by any stretch. But this was kind of where the run kind of fell into disaster territory because my Nidoking only has normal moves. And I think like Poison Sting or something. I think that's the move I ended up using against these guys, like Poison Sting. And then I would switch in Ivysaur for Leech Seed. wow. I mean, again, next time I play this game, and maybe it'll be like this week, maybe I might do it soon, do an English run of red or blue. I'm not sure which one's the best, or which, you know, I have both, so I don't know which one I'll play. But next time, definitely gonna have to make sure I don't go this with poison sting. Horrible. But so the Pokemon Tower just took so long. It was so grueling. It was so horrendous. I got stuck here for such a long time. Honestly, an embarrassing amount of time. So I'm just gonna like fast forward this. You can see how long it took. I died over and over and over again because I just didn't have moves. I you know, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. All I know is people, oh, you speedrun this game with Nidoking. All right, I got it. You know, instructions, very clear, get Nidoking, and then you should just win immediately, right? That's what I thought. Turns out that is not quite the case. And so at around 3 hours and 42 minutes, I eventually got the hell out of Lavender Town, and then realized, well, shit, I don't know where the fuck I'm going. So, you know, then I went on over to Saffron, kind of explored a little bit. I don't really remember what was going on in Saffron. Then I decided, you know what, I'm going to go to Fuchsia City. Yeah, I got the Poke Flute. I'm going to go to Fuchsia City. I'm going to get Surf for my Nidoking. I'm going to get Surf, you know. It would have been really great to have Surf a long time ago. But hey, a little better late than never, whatever. I'm gonna get Surf. So I decided to fight the Snorlax, go down the route. I don't think that this route, doing the right side of Kanto, going downward to Fuchsia, I don't think that that's the superior way of doing it. That's the way I did it. You know, you can further all criticism, you know, to my email inbox. So I got lost in this maze for a solid chunk of time. Again, I shouldn't even been here to begin with, but hey, whatever. I eventually made my way on over to Fuchsia City. I decided, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna do this thing. It's called a warp. It's called, so, you know, you faint and then you go back to the last Pokemon Center. So I'm not gonna heal my guys here. So that I can warp back to like Lavender Town or something. And then I'm trying to figure out how the hell do I get to the Safari Zone? I don't even know. I'll go to the store, grab some shit first. And in the Safari Zone, I'm pretty sure I fuck it up. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. I don't know. Yeah, I ended up going into this big open, the noob trap, this giant area that's a dead end with no grass, no nothing, just the fuck you area. Hey, you went this way? Fuck you. You deserve to suffer. You lose all your steps. But somehow I managed to barely make it, got the teeth, and got Surf, got the hell out of there, got Strength. And now my Nidoking's feeling pretty good. I went to fight Koga, died immediately. So now I'm back in Lavender Town. But I do have Surf, and I do have Strength. And so with that, I can kind of, you know, at this point in the game, like, Kanto's your oyster or whatever, you know, something like that. So I decide to go to the second gym in Saffron, get some experience. And I also wanted to get a Hitmonlee. I just wanted to get an extra Pokemon. I figured, you know, maybe it will help if I want to throw them in there so I can use a turn on healing items, something like that. And then I wanted to go to Saffron, what is it, Sylph Company? I got lost here, man. Straight up, I got lost here for like an hour. So, like, let's just fast forward this shit. Look at that. Fast forward. I'm so confused. And then eventually I find the rival after, like, about 15, 20 minutes, 30... Well, this Gyarados, man, this Gyarados is fucking me so hard. So then I get stuck again. Then I'm back at Lavender Town. Once again, by this point, you're probably quite well aware that this run is not going so well. And again, this is my first time playing Pokemon Green. This is my first time making one of these videos, so I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm kind of just free-forming it here, kind of just making it up as I go. You know, speaking of which, I'm kind of making up the route as I go. I don't know where the hell I'm going, frankly. I just have no idea, so I'm fighting unnecessary rocket guys. Then I went back and fought the rival. So this rival fight is where Gyarados starts to become extremely problematic. Gyarados, whatever you want to call him. Just totally fucking me beyond belief. And then, of course, I spawned back at fucking Lavender Town again because I refuse to use the Pokemon Center in Saffron because I don't fucking need it. And then here we are, Gyarados. So I'm trying to use Leech Seed. I'm trying to do everything I can, set myself up for success. And then Nidoking brings me to victory. Charizard is Gonzo because now I got Surf. And then it's Giovanni round 2. I think it's Giovanni round 2. Nidoking versus Nidoqueen. Who's going to be better? You know, the patriarchy wins again today in Pokemon. The only gendered characters, or at least the only gendered monsters, Nidoking and Nidoqueen. And, you know, Rena and Ran and Reno. But don't, not to be confused with the city in Nevada. But anyway, got my Master Ball here because, you know, I wanted to catch Moltres at some point. You know, me being a fucking idiot, I thought Moltres would be a really good catch. I thought it would really help out in the end. You know, it didn't. Spoiler, it didn't. Moltres really didn't help at all in the Elite Four. But hey, I mean, well, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. Moltres helped out a little bit. But again, I'm at the 4 hour, 46 minute mark here. And it's around this point that I realized that this was a complete and total nightmare. I'm going to be staying up all night. I started this run at about 9:30 p.m. I thought it would be like, oh, I'd stay up until like 2, maybe 3 a.m. No, I'm going to be staying up all night. And you know what? I'm just going to say the culprit, my illiteracy. I cannot read. I don't know how to read. And, I just figured, I know this game. It's Pokemon. It's easy. I know this game. I played it before. Whatever, man. I don't need to be able to read. Turns out, being able to read in a role-playing game with a lot of text and menus, it's something that you should know. Let's just put it that way, okay? Unless you know the game, like, tile for tile, which clearly I do not. Unless you know the game tile for tile, you should really learn how to read. It's really that simple. So I went in to fight Sabrina. I got lost in the maze, of course. You always get lost in this maze. At least I do. I don't know about you, but I get lost here every single time. My Nidoking's got like -6 health, and I'm going up to fight Sabrina here. And this is the thing about Pokemon Green. This is like my first time playing Pokemon Green. Well, actually, I played Pokemon Green all the way through a long time ago on emulator when I first discovered. Does anyone remember when you were young? This is to all the people that are like over, the age of like 10. But do you remember when you were young and you had red and blue? Like maybe you had yellow, gold and silver. Maybe they were out, maybe they weren't. Who knows? And then someone tells you, hey, did you know that there's a Pokemon Green? And then you're like, huh? I got red. I got blue. I got yellow. There's a green? Pokemon Green? Does anyone remember that? Pokemon Green? What? There's another one? I remember going to a game store and asking someone, hey, do you have Pokemon Green? And they looked at me and they're like, there is no green. It was like a mythical, you have mythical legendary Pokemon, but then you had the legendary Pokemon game, Pokemon Green. And this is for all the Americans, obviously. In Japan, they had green from the jump. So I remember downloading Pokemon Green on an emulator. And I was like, oh, it's Japanese only. And oh, okay, then I finally understood. But this is before the internet. I didn't have the internet at this time. And so I didn't know that Pokemon Green was How do you get that information? You just have to wait until you look it up. And then I remember like 5-6 years later finding out like, oh, Pokemon Green is not only, it's a real game, but it's actually the first game. Came out with Red in Japan. But anyway, Sabrina here really whipped me into shape. Sabrina's got that whip, really strange. But one thing about Pokemon Green is this happened. I went in here and somehow I got the badge. Now, again, I tried to do this glitchless. This is an attempt at the glitchless classic category. But what the hell? Apparently, if you lose to Sabrina and then re-enter the gym, you just get the badge for free. And so I didn't really know what was going on. So then I went back in the maze trying to fight Sabrina again. And I ended up getting lost in the maze for like a grand total of like 5 minutes. And then I was like, well, I think I got the badge. Fuck it. Let's just go. Let's just get out of here. I think I got it. Whatever. And then I start looking for Fly because I realized I'm going to have to start flying. I didn't get Fly yet. I don't even have a flying Pokemon, so I had to capture this Spearow here, which is the 5th member of my team so that I could start flying around. So then I flew all the way back to Fuchsia City for some unfinished business. That's right, I gotta go kick this gym leader's ass. Totally fucked me over the last time, but that was when my Nidoking wasn't as good. It really was the Nido Prince back then. Now my Nidoking is this is the day my Nido became a king, right? So I decided I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna fuck Koga up. I'm going to go through there with these invisible walls so that you can kind of see the dots in, because, you know, I guess they couldn't do movement permissions on tiles differentiating. Like, each tile, I guess, is hard-coded to have a movement permission, so you had to have those dots. Either that or they wanted it to be easy. You know, whatever. And, so you go here, you go through the maze little thing, and then you fight Koga. I always liked Koga, like, from the aesthetic standpoint. He's got that cape, really cool stuff. Poison as a gym, you know, like, that's just cool. Poison's a cool type. Poison's super underexplored, and of course, I'm an old Pokemon fan. I don't know about any of the new Pokemon. I'm sure Poison has been beaten to death, like with every other thing, in Pokemon. Now I'm sure every type has, like, 9 trillion different guys or whatever. But again, Poison, really cool in Pokemon Red and Blue, and even in Gold and Silver. Yeah, Poison was really cool. I remember Crobat was really interesting back in the day when I first saw that one. But again, Koga, huge fan of Koga, just from an aesthetic standpoint. His team, you know, could use some work. I like Coughing. Coughing is cool. I enjoy Coughing from you know, a design standpoint. It's just an interesting Pokemon. You got Wheezing as well. I just like him. I don't know, something about me just likes him. But Koga, really, really simple. And now that's pretty much it. I just have to go fight Blaine. I have to go to the mansion. Then I have to fight Blaine. Then the last Giovanni. Then the Elite Four. So it's around this moment where I'm thinking, nice, we're almost there. We're about to beat the game. And so I'm just gonna go skip ahead, you know, swimming down to Cinnabar Island. And again, I kind of remembered at the last minute, oh yeah, I gotta do the Pokemon Mansion. I kind of forgot. I always forget about the Pokemon Mansion. I don't know. It's a really memorable. I'm not saying it's a really memorable location. It probably is, next to Lavender Town, it probably is the scariest location in the game. I just remember getting lost in the Pokemon Mansion when I was really young, and the music's kind of scary, and it's just kind of weird, and you don't really know what's going on, and you got these diaries that say this weird stuff, and, you know, like, my 6-year-old brain was like, whoa, you know, and then I had watched, you know, the Mewtwo movie, and I was like, whoa, so I really enjoy Pokemon Mansion as a location. But I always forget about it. I always go like, yeah, Cinnabar Island, you fight the gym, you leave. But no, you gotta go through the mansion. So I'm trying to navigate my inventory by selling everything that looks like a TM. Probably a mistake, but we'll deal with that later. And then I go into the Pokemon Mansion. And I get a little bit lost here. I try to grab a couple of items that I remember existing. And so I got a little bit lost, but it wasn't too bad. I ended up kind of getting out there with decent time. It didn't take me that long. And then I went through Blaine. I fought every gym leader in the gym for Blaine. Oh yeah, I got this Magmar. Look at that. I always liked Magmar. Magmar was my favorite I killed that Magmar, by the way. That Magmar is dead. Not fainted, dead. Just murdered. Magmar was literally my favorite Pokemon for a huge period of time. Now, back when I was like 6 or 7, like, you know, like 2 or 3 months, that's like 5 years back then, right? So I loved Magmar. And so I remember finding a Magmar in a Pokemon Mansion at one point for the first time, and I was like, whoa, really cool, super awesome. But then I went into fight Blaine. I couldn't read, once again. Don't know how to read. I'm sure that you could just memorize the answers, or I'm sure it would have been faster in some ways to just do them all and click A on the first one, and if it wins, then I pass one, and then whatever. But I just decided, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna get the experience anyway, whatever. I'm just gonna fight all these guys. And it ended up, you know, I have Surf, so it was pretty simple. And then Blaine, the 7th gym leader. Blaine was pretty easy again. Nidoking, super over-leveled for this point in the game. I do have Surf, so it was a pretty simple fight. Pretty much one-shotting almost all of his guys. I love Arcanine's sprite in Pokemon Green. Like, Arcanine just looks super fluffy here. Super fluffy, super happy. You know, some of the later games make him look a little mean, but Arcanine just looks happy to be alive here. And that's pretty much Blaine. Blaine's all souped up. I like the cape. It's kind of flowing in the wind there. Really good sprite. And, you know, it's a criminal, you know, what they do to Blaine in the overworld. They give him that little pot belly. They make him way more balding They just, you know, they're really not doing they're doing a large disservice to Blaine, which is really unfortunate. And then my eyes started to hurt around this part of the game, like all this checkerboard. I was getting really tired. It was like 3 a.m. Around this point now. And I'm thinking, okay, we're almost there. We're almost there. We're almost there. I'm almost done with the game. This is taking longer than I thought, but I'm almost there. So, fly back to Viridian, go through and fight Giovanni. This gym can be a little annoying, but I do like this gym. I like the design of this gym. And here we go. Giovanni, round 3. The last time I'm going to have to deal with this fucking guy. And again, surf. Like, you just surf. You just, instead of, you know, you just, all you really have to do here is just brute surf, you know? Just, it's pretty much, it's either directly super effective on everything Giovanni has, or it's just so overpowered that it's just going to do a lot of damage. And Giovanni basically just got destroyed. Nidoqueen, Nidoking wasn't any challenge for me. Giovanni is gonzo. Team Rocket has been disbanded. You know, we'll pick up back in Gold and Silver, see what those guys are up to. But, and yeah, that's pretty much it. That's 8 badges. All we got to do is Victory Road. We got to beat the Elite Four. You know, it should take, like, what, 20 minutes? 30 tops, right? And again, I have no idea what I'm doing. By the way, I love how slow these spinners are. It really, you know, again, especially because it's like 3 a.m. when I'm playing this, I'm like, oh my god, please, just go. But anyway, so we move on, we fight the rival. And the thing about the rival is, I mentioned this before, Gyarados. Just totally destroying me in every capacity. I'm getting completely rocked by Gyarados every single time I fight this rival. It's a huge problem. I barely made it through there, but my Pokemon Nidoking was already gone, so I ended up fainting against the rival. So I tried again and get to the Gyarados, get a little bit scared, and then I'm gonna flip into my Lapras. Oh yeah, by the way, I didn't mention that, but I got Lapras earlier, so there's Lapras. All right, you know, honorific mention, whatever. So, my goal here is just to get Nidoking to safety, Leech Seed this Gyarados so that I can at least get some chip damage, and then just hope for the best. You know, again, pretty much every Pokemon in my party right now sucks fucking shit, except for Nidoking. So, I'm kind of like, Spearow? You know, like, what's Spearow gonna do? So then I bring Nidoking back in, so we got the Leech Seed. Hopefully that's good enough. It's not good enough. Nidoking is down. Nidoking is down. But wait, Hitmonlee, everybody. Hitmonlee. I knew I got Hitmonlee for a reason. I knew Hitmonlee would come in. Hitmonlee would save me. You know, that's the thing about Hitmonlee is I feel like Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee are a little too late in the game to be useful. You know, I remember I did do a run at one point where I had Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan. I traded them over and did a run with just those two the whole game a long time ago, when I was a kid, obviously. And, you know, so I knew Hitmonlee. He's got something. There's some spunk there. So I'm thinking, okay, Hitmonlee. Didn't go so well. Hitmonlee has betrayed me. Hitmonlee has, frankly, I'm disgusted by this treatment that Hitmonlee has bestowed upon me. But anyway, so I'm going to try it again. Nidoking bursts through everyone else, and we get to Gyarados. Now, Gyarados one-shot this guy this time. Super lucky. They didn't use Surf. Somehow I made it. And then Alakazam totally just scared the fucking shit out of me. I got a little nervous here. I was like, I'm scared. I killed the Gyarados. Still have Nidoking. Alright, Hitmonlee. It's time to shine. Okay, Hitmonlee. Let's go. I'm ready. You know, you failed me before. You haven't gotten any smarter. You haven't gotten any wiser. You haven't leveled up at all. Maybe. And no, Hitmonlee just took the hit. And again, that's kind of what I don't know in a speedrun if you should bother getting any more than the starter and Nidoking. I really don't know. And probably a flyer as well. I really don't know. I have no idea. I imagine you probably don't need anything besides those 3 guys. But I just don't know. So I got Hitmonlee thinking, well, you know, at the very least, it's a free turn. probably ended up doing more harm than it was worth, because it's like, okay, it's a free turn, but it really is just, in a lot of instances, it ended up delaying the inevitable. It ended up just being like, oh, you know, I'm losing and warping back to the Pokemon Center like 3 minutes later than I would have otherwise because of this fucking goddamn Hitmonlee. But anyway, I got scared. I put a potion on Nidoking, and then I was like, well, shit, it's either going to happen or it won't. We'll see what happens. And not so good on the attack there, but hey, just two more. Alakazam is gonzo. Oh, one more critical hit. Wonderful. At least I think that was a critical hit. I don't know. Once again, I cannot read. But Charizard, Surf, easy kill, one-shot kill, easy peasy. And then we are moving on. So again, I always really enjoy. A lot of people I've heard they don't like the walk up to Indigo Plateau. I love it when the music starts kicking in. It's one of the coolest songs in the game. You don't hear it too often. You hear it like in the evolution screen and stuff. It's just a really it's a great moment. It feels really good, and especially at this point in the game, I was like, okay, you know, this has been a little bit of a disaster, but okay, the Elite Four shouldn't be too hard. It shouldn't be that big of a deal. Victory Road, let me pull up a map real quick. Shouldn't be too hard, and we'll just be off. So eventually I get into Victory Road, and I just do the puzzle. There's really nothing too worthy of note. I did get pwned in Victory Road. Actually, no, I didn't. I made it through just on potions. That's right. I didn't have to do Victory Road more than once. And then eventually, again, I got that Master Ball earlier. Remember I told you about that, the Master Ball. And so I wanted to go and get Moltres. And easy peasy. I thought here, okay, Moltres. I've got 5 guys. Might as well grab a 6th. Got the Master Ball. I planned on getting Moltres from the start just because they're so close to just being on the route. Might as well. I figured Moltres might help with Lorelei. I don't know how to pronounce her name. It's something. Also, Moltres just looked really cool in this game. Like, just look at that thing, man. Moltres is awesome. Moltres ended up not being so helpful, but maybe I'll get into that later. Anyway, but that was Victory Road. That was pretty much it. Managed to fight one more trainer, maybe 2, I don't really know. And then I got the hell out of here. And I'm just gonna save you the suffering. I entered the Indigo Plateau at around 6 hours or so. Once again, I can't read. I didn't really have a route, and I just assumed that Nidoking would help me. I assumed Nidoking would just steamroll the whole game, and that was an incorrect assumption. I'm not using X items. I know X items are really good in these games, and I know that the speedruns use them, but I can't read, so I don't know which X item is which. I didn't feel like looking up a translation. I felt like that would be a little bit... I feel like if I looked up a translation, what would happen is I would feel really dumb because I should have been using translation since the beginning. So instead, I decided to just lose against the Elite Four for hours. Instead, I lost to the Elite Four for hours. I could have just used the translator at any point, but I decided, you know what? If I use a translator now, well, then I will have wasted 7 hours where I could have been using a translator a lot sooner. Then eventually I got a little bit desperate, and I started just battling random trainers out of frustration. I was going insane fighting the same Lorelei fight over and over again. I went to the to the Celadon department store, and I just bought some TMs. I found a list of TM numbers. Didn't translate. I just want to be clear. Didn't translate. I didn't end up translating TMs. But I found a list of TM numbers that Nidoking can learn in red and blue, and I just bought 1 or 2. I don't think it ended up making that big of a difference, I'm going to be honest with you. But again, not a translation. Just did it based on numbers, okay? Didn't have to translate the numbers, okay? I'm just saying. So I just lost to Lorelei over and over and over again. Eventually, I made it to Lance. Beat Lance. Okay. I'm feeling good. I've got Nidoking in my party. This is it. This is the rival fight. This is the championship. Here we go. I was nervous. I'm not gonna lie. It's like 4:30 a.m., 5 o'clock a.m. I'm scared. Okay? I'm telling you, I am scared at this point in the game, at this point in my life. And I'll be honest, I haven't stayed up all night playing Pokemon probably since I was like maybe 8 years old. And regardless of how this went, this is where the sappy speech starts. Regardless of how this went, 8 hours, it took a long time. I was totally unprepared. I knew going in that I was unprepared, but I really I really didn't prepare on how much preparation I even would have needed to prepare for. So I was unprepared on the level of unpreparedness in that kind of sense. So, but here we are. We finally made it. Level 79. I got so much experience from fighting Lorelei over and over, or Lorelee, I don't know. Fighting over and over again. Here's the rival. Here's the champion. I'm staying up all night playing Pokemon. Honestly, I was starting to, phase shift through the quantum realm. It's like, well, am I 8 years old again, or am I 29? I don't know how old I am. That's how old I am. I'm 29, by the way. It's a problem. But I feel good. I felt this was fun. This was a journey. And again, this is really the start of something. It was the end of my first Pokemon speedrun. But really, it's the start of a brand new, chapter in my life. This is the sappy soliloquy, guys. All right. Again, speedrunning is something that I really enjoy. I have been speedrunning for a very, very, very long time. And I've liked Pokemon for a very, very long time. And these are two things that I've never mixed. When I was speedrunning for a long time previously, Pokemon was always on my list of things. Oh, yeah, I'll get to that. Oh, yeah, I'll get to Pokemon one day. And I never did. And I'm really happy to finally finish my very first. Gyarados, why? I'm not going to lie to you. I cried. I broke down in tears. Because it was 6 a.m. I was tired. I was getting tired. I was starting to hallucinate. There's a piece of dust on my wall. By the ceiling, there's a piece of dust, And I started looking at that piece of dust, and I started thinking it was moving. I started thinking it was growing in size. You ever see that? You ever do that? Like, when you're really tired and you look at something way out there, that you don't, it's far away-ish. It's across my room. It's in the corner of the ceiling. I thought it was moving. I thought it was morphing. It was transforming. It was dancing. It was giving me a show. It was laughing at me, that dust mite, in the corner of my ceiling. And I was thinking, there's no way I got it in me. There's no way. But then I remembered, I'm level 79. I'm level 79. How bad could it be? So I entered the Lorelei grind once again. And then eventually, I get all the way back to Lance. And then I beat Lance. I don't even need to spend any time on Lance. Fuck Lance, okay? I win. He's super easy, whatever, okay? It's no big deal. But then we get to him again, okay? The champion. The bane of my existence. Some people call him Blue. Some people call him Gary. I call him Motherfucker, okay? That's what I call him. I do not like this guy. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm just gonna break character here. I actually really like the rival in Pokemon Green and Red and Blue and Yellow and Fire Red and Leaf Green and Blue and Yellow and Red. I really like the rival. I think the rival is a well-designed character from a writing standpoint. I think the rival is probably the best written character in the entirety of Pokemon Gen 1. That's my opinion. Because he is a piece of shit. He is one-dimensional. He is a cocksucker. He is, by all means, a motherfucker. But, that's what makes it so good when you beat him. I'm sure many people have made this point, but, that feeling when you finally kick his ass. And you're like, you know what, go fuck yourself. And then Professor Oak shows up and says, I'm disappointed in you. Man, it doesn't get any better than that. And that's the thing, is it was around this time when I realized I'm not going to be able to revel in Oak's disappointment because I can't read. I won't be able to know that he's disappointed, but I'll know he's in my heart. I'll know that Professor Oak was disappointed. And so But again, as I was saying earlier, this is going to be the start of a new project for me to play through some Pokemon games. I'm probably going to end up doing some more, like, sort of challenge stuff. Definitely going to be playing, all the Pokemon games for Game Boy on this channel. Definitely going to be playing through all the Pokemon games for Game Boy Color on this channel. Hell, I might even play a Game Boy Advance game on this channel, so look forward to that, or not, or whatever. But again, this is my first time ever doing a Pokemon speedrun, and it was scary, it was fun, it was great. Again, it made me feel a feeling I haven't felt in a long time. One, just speedrunning a new game, just totally new speedrun for me. I haven't done that in a while. And just, you know, it's that familiar nostalgia of Pokemon. One of my favorite series from when I was a kid. I fell out of Pokemon at one point. Here's Gyarados, by the way. This motherfucker. This goddamn piece of goddamn shit. Moltres is gone. Moltres is done for. It's around this time. Level 81 Nidoking. Could it possibly happen again? Is it happening again? So I use, but again, I'm just really happy to play Pokemon again because I fell out at one point. There's a lot of Pokemon games that are out there now that I have no interest in ever playing. And you know, I've had this itch in the back of my mind since I was a young child of like, yeah, one of these days I'll get in there and play Pokemon again. And when I started doing my speedrunning stuff, for those of you that don't know, I've been a speedrunner, whatever that means, for 12 years now, a little bit more than that. And you know, I always thought, yeah, I'll do Pokemon one of these days. One of these days. I did Yu-Gi-Oh! That's similar. It's RNG fuckfest. Man, look at this. That Charizard almost fucking got me. Holy Macintosh. But you know, to me, I've always been kicking this can down the corner. Yeah, one day I'll do Pokemon. One of these days, I'll check it out. One of these days, I'll do a Pokemon speedrun. And, here we go. I'm finally doing it. At least we're starting with the very first Pocket Monsters game. Pocket Monsters Green. And, again, a lot of fun. I look forward to playing it again at some point. But probably the next time you see me play Pokemon, it will probably be one of the English versions. One of these days, fuck it. I'm gonna learn... You know what? This is... hear me now. I'm going to learn Japanese so that one day I can do this run again on Pokemon Green and be able to read. But here's Professor Oak about to give this guy a talking to. I know I just soliloquied over the rival fight, and you know, but hey, whatever. You've seen the rival fight 30 million times by now if you're watching this, I'm sure. But again, there you go. That is Pokemon Green. Pocket Monsters Green, I should say. My very first Pokemon speedrun. And again, I had a lot of fun. It was about 6-something a.m. when I finished this. So my goal was to get the hell to sleep. And get the hell to sleep I did. I went to sleep within 5 minutes. And I had some really good dreams. I'm not going to lie to you. I had some really good dreams. I had comfortable dreams. Dreams that reminded me of a better time. Dreams that reminded me when all that kind of shit, you know, the nostalgia bait. But anyway, thank you for watching this video. Enjoy the credits. This is Pokemon Green. This is my first playthrough in a long time. This is my first speedrun ever. Can you even call it a speedrun? I'm not sure. Could you call it a glitchless run? I'm also not sure. But what I am sure about is that... Actually, I don't really know what I'm sure about, but anyway, that's it. Okay, bye.